Do you know this man? His name is Osebo. He's a very rich man. Right now you can call him a rich man in exile. He married 100 wives. Listen, I have a story for you. But before then, I want to show my sincere gratitude to you for supporting my channel. The love is very much felt. Please subscribe and turn on the notification button if you have not done so. Your continuous support and cooperation will give us the needed motivation to keep creating educative, entertaining and captivating content. We love you so much and we hope to keep serving you good content. Keep calm and enjoy the story. In the vibrant village of Okunta, situated between rolling hills and the shimmering streams, lived a man named Osebo. He was a man of considerable wealth, possessing lands that stretched as far as the eye could see and livestock that multiplied like rabbits. Yet, despite his riches, Osebo was known far and wide not for his generosity but for his stinginess. Osebo believed that wealth was a tool for command and control, a means to secure respect and honor among his fellow villagers. He adorned himself with different titles: Chief of the Fields, Lord of the Cattle, and Protector of the Harvest, each one granted during an elaborate ceremony where villagers gathered, feasted, and cheered for him, hoping for a scrap of his wealth. But once the festivities ended, the villagers would go back to their lives, leaving Osebo with a bitter taste of loneliness. You see, my friend, Osebo would say to his closest companion Ndubisi as he surveyed the empty grounds after yet another grand feast, "I am a man of importance. The villagers cheer for me." Ndubisi nodded, but in his heart, he knew the truth. They cheer for the food and not for the love and respect they have for Osebo. You could give them a feast every day, but respect is earned through kindness, not mere titles, Ndubisi would say to the stubborn Osebo. But despite Ndubisi's wise words, Osebo remained stubborn. He built larger halls and called for more titles, each time believing that this would win him the respect he craved. Yet with each new title, the villagers only saw another opportunity to gather, eat and laugh at his expense. Some greedy men that surrounded him would always suggest for him to take more titles and throw more parties. "Let's throw a party for the new title of Lord of the Gold," one of the so-called friends suggested, his eyes glimmering with greed. "Wonderful idea," Osebo exclaimed, failing to see the glint of mischief in his friend's eyes. As the feast continued, Osebo grew increasingly frustrated. "Why do they not respect me? Why do they not fear me?" he often lamented to Ndubisi. "They see you as a source of food, not as a leader," Ndubisi replied. "Perhaps you could think about creating wealth for them, help them grow instead of simply accumulating titles." "Nonsense," Osebo scoffed. "They are lazy and expect everything on a silver platter. They should be grateful for what I have." In his desperation to command respect, Osebo approached the kingmakers of Okunta, hoping to secure a position of power. "I wish to be king," he declared boldly. The kingmakers exchanged glances, and then one spoke. "Osebo, we cannot make you king. You are a stingy man known for keeping your wealth to yourself. A king must be generous, not greedy." Osebo's face turned red with indignation. "But I have titles, I have wealth," he shouted. But the kingmakers were unmoved. "We do not need a king who cannot open his heart," they replied firmly. "The villagers need a leader who will uplift them, not one who hoards his riches." Frustrated by the rejection, Osebo returned home, plotting how he might regain control. One day, during a visit to his wife's village for a charity event, he was met with joyous dancers and drummers, all celebrating his presence. The villagers praised him, showering him with adoration as they eagerly awaited his generosity. They hoped that Osebo would be moved by their praises and give them gifts and support. But instead, Osebo danced to their songs and ate their food and left them with words of encouragement and no support. "I love the mood I found you people," he said to them. "I also enjoyed the hospitality and entertainment. It shows you are good people that value what you have. Please keep it up, and I will visit more often." The people all left that day disappointed, as Osebo refused to attend to any of them or even make donations. In his arrogance, Osebo thought, "If they respect me for marrying their daughter, imagine the respect I recommend if I marry from every clan." Thus, Osebo set out on a quest to marry more wives. Over the next few years, Osebo wed woman after woman until he had amassed a staggering 100 wives. He believed that with each marriage he would gain more power and influence. Instead, he was met with chaos. The moment Osebo returned home, he realized that his grand plan had turned into a nightmare. His wives, once rivals, turned into fierce competitors, each vying for his attention. They fought over everything, from who got to sit next to him at meals to whose dish he should taste first. Each night, Osebo would sneak into one wife's room hoping for a peaceful moment of intimacy. But every time, he found the other wives wide awake, casting glances filled with jealousy and suspicion. "Why do you always choose her?" one wife would demand, while another would cry, "But I prepared his favorite meal." When it was time for meals, the situation only worsened. Each wife brought forth her special dishes, all claiming that Osebo must eat only hers. With a table overflowing with food, Osebo often found himself so overwhelmed that he ended up eating nothing at all. Desperate for a solution, Osebo sought the counsel of the village's wisest traditionalist, an elderly man known for his unorthodox wisdom. Osebo poured out his woes, describing the turmoil in his household and his unending quest for respect. The old man listened patiently, then chuckled. "Ah, Osebo, you have gathered many wives, but have you considered that the gods are laughing at you?" "What do you mean?" Osebo asked, bewildered. "You cannot control the hearts of women through wealth alone. You have turned your home into a battleground. If you wish for peace, you must choose wisely or run for your dear life." The traditionalist replied, shaking his head in amusement. Realizing that the gods had indeed conspired against him, Osebo made the difficult decision to go into exile. He packed a few belongings and set off, hoping to find solace away from his household turmoil. As he walked through the lush forest and the quiet valleys, he pondered the foolishness of his past. "I thought I could buy respect," he mused aloud, "but all I have is chaos and strife. Perhaps there is wisdom in sharing and caring. Perhaps wealth is meant to uplift others, not to isolate oneself." Months passed and Osebo wandered through various lands, learning from other villages. He saw how true leaders operated, through kindness, respect, and sharing their wealth. He witnessed the joy of communities that thrived on cooperation and mutual support. With a heart transformed, Osebo decided to return to Okunta. This time, he came not as a man seeking titles, but as a man ready to give back. When he got home, he realized that his wives were no more there. They all ran away, each taking as much belonging as she can. Osebo's house looked like a place deserted for years, with everything gone apart from his landed properties and some goods he hid in a private place. His livestock, food, furniture, and other valuable items were no more. Osebo started building his life and sought forgiveness from his first wife. He approached the village elders and with humility offered to help them improve their farms, share his wealth, and create jobs for the villagers. The kingmakers who once dismissed him now welcomed him with open arms. "Osebo, you have returned not as a king, but as a leader," they declared. The villagers, once skeptical, began to see the changes in him and slowly embraced him. With time, Osebo transformed Okunta into a thriving community. He initiated programs to help the villagers learn new skills, invest in their own small businesses, and even contributed to building a school for their children. The respect he craved began to flow in naturally as the villagers appreciated his efforts. And when Osebo's first wife eventually came back, it was a union built on love and mutual respect. His wife understood his journey, and together they brought harmony to their home. As years passed, Osebo became a respected leader, not for his titles, but for the legacy of the kindness and generosity he left behind. The villagers of Hukunta spoke of him with pride, not as a wealthy man, but as a man who had learned the true essence of leadership, that respect is earned through the heart, not the wallet. Remember, my children, he will always say with a smile, wealth is not just in what you have, but in what you give. The heart that shares will always be filled with joy. And so, the story of Osebo, the stingy millionaire turned beloved leader, became a cherished tale in Hukunta, a reminder that true wealth lies in love and respect we cultivate in the hearts of others. Thank you so much for watching this interesting story. Please leave a comment and don't forget to subscribe. Turn on your notification button for more stories like this. My name is Thank God, and this is SY Times.